My name is Michael Carrillo. I'm an entrepreneur and speaker. I want to challenge schools, athletes, teams, and dreamers with this question. Am I doing what I want to be doing? What I'm called for? What my purpose is? Or am I doing what's safe, what's easy, and convenient? You see, in a lot of ways, I achieved my dreams. Growing up as an undersized athlete, I overcame odds to become both a Division I and professional athlete. Then 2020 happened.
In the sports world, also taking a big hit.
Well, the NBA was the first. They suspended its season last night, and today more professional and amateur leagues are following suit.
New announcements overnight of events being postponed or canceled, and young athletes robbed of their chances to shine.
And I think for a lot of people, it forced us into uncomfortable situations, into moments of solitude, quiet, where the only voice in our heads was our own, maybe for the first time. 2020 presented choice, presented options. "2020 started out great for me. I was gearing up for my first professional football camp. I was in a relationship and I was happy. And amidst a global pandemic, I was fortunate enough to say that my family was all healthy and thriving. And then 2 weeks before camp starts, my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 throat cancer. 2 days before camp started, I got a text from my girlfriend inviting me to leave our relationship. I headed up to camp with my mind in a million different places. When I got to camp, I was quarterback number 3 on a roster with 3 quarterbacks. And I remember thinking to myself after the first practice, alone in my hotel room, man, you better start thinking about what's next. My mind's not here. I'm gonna get cut from this team. And I was already thinking about other options. By the grace of God, I made it through that entire week with no sleep, with a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. And the last day of camp, I was asked by my coach to meet him in his office and to bring my playbook. If you're familiar with those words, it's probably because you've been cut from a team before, and that was my expectation heading into that meeting. I brought my playbook in, set it on the desk, and shook the hands of my general manager, offensive coordinator, and head coach, thanking them for the opportunity to play the sport that I loved, to compete in my hometown. My coach laughed and said, "Carrillo, you better pick that playbook up. You're gonna need it. You're gonna be our starter headed into week 1. Well, week 1 came. We flew out to Bismarck, North Dakota, and any excitement that I felt quickly dissipated as we found ourselves down 2 touchdowns at the end of the first quarter. We fought, scratched, climbed, and did everything we could to come back, and ended up winning a close game. The next week, we geared up for our home opener in San Diego. And then 2 days before the home opener, the unthinkable happens. Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz gets COVID and shuts down the professional sports world. Any sense of security, any sense of purpose and identity I felt at that time was completely gone. I was lost, uncertain of my future and confused, and in pain. Ground zero can be a very scary place to be, but it's also a very exciting place to be, because that's where possibility exists. That's where hope exists. That's where faith exists, and that's where what happens next is inside of our control exists. No, it's not easy. Yeah, it can be very lonely, but those are the moments that define who we are and what we decide to do with the rest of our lives. Those are the moments where choice exists. Your failures don't define you. Your coach doesn't define you, and your parents don't define you. Your accomplishments, your accolades, those don't define you either. What does define you is how you respond to adversity. How you act when no one's looking. What you do when everything that you've ever worked for, everything that you've hoped for, and everything that you've dreamed about completely shatters. I've been blessed with a lot of my life. When I was in college, I was first exposed to sports psychology, and that really helped me through my career deal with anxiety, performance anxiety, stress, time management, and identity. Before that, I tied my identity to my performance. If I played well, I felt like the man. If I didn't do well, I felt like I lost worth. And while sports psychology and mental health awareness was so helpful for me in my playing career, it really highlighted the fact that a lot of other student athletes don't have access to that. Sports has become one of the most privatized industries on the planet. Everyone has their own shooting coach, hitting coach, quarterback coach. But the one thing that really isn't hit on is the mental and emotional development. That's why we see so many guys and girls with all the talent in the world not make it. We started the DREAM program in an effort to help equip student athletes with the mental and emotional tools it takes to be successful on and off the field, on and off the court. In the midst of all that, I started a company called Winter Marketing Firm that specializes in digital marketing and public relations. We work with coaches, consultants, personal brands, and companies to help increase their credibility, exposure, and authority to ultimately affect their bottom line in a positive way. I chose winner because in order to become a true winner, you need to understand what your why is, what your purpose is. See, real winners know that. Real winners know what gets them up when everyone else tells them to lay down. Winners know how to compete when it doesn't seem like it's even a fair game anymore. Winners know how to fight when it may seem the battle's already lost. I want to inspire people to believe that their past doesn't define them, that their performance, whether good or bad, doesn't identify them, and that their dream, no matter how large or insurmountable the odds may appear, is possible for them.